Welcome to The Holistic Nurse with your host, Peggy Smith. Peggy will introduce and educate her viewers about the differences between alternative, holistic, and complementary medical therapies. Her goal is to empower the lay medical consumer to learn how to advocate for themselves. So now, please welcome the host of The Holistic Nurse, Peggy Smith.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Holistic Nurse with Peggy Smith. What if stress isn't something that you feel, but it's something that's quietly changing how your body functions every single day? Symptoms like fatigue, anxiety, brain fog, poor sleep, digestive issues, they're actually your body's response to ongoing stress. And the cost of ongoing chronic stress isn't just emotional, but deeply biological. Welcome back to today's edition of The Holistic Nurse with Peggy Smith, where we explore health through the lens of the entire person, body, mind, environment, and lifestyle. And today we're talking about the hidden cost of chronic stress. And joining us today is Dr. Gloria Warren, epidemiologist coming from Illinois. Welcome, Gloria.
Oh, hi. Glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me join you again.
It's always a pleasure to have you. So everybody thinks we must think we know what stress is because we're all saying, "Oh, it's just stress. No matter what, something's wrong. It's just stress." Does anybody really know what that word means and what it's doing to us? When most people think of stress, they think of either mental or emotional responses. But in the body, stress is a whole lot more than just a feeling. It's actually a physiological response, which can be a little bit complicated and at best kind of interferes with our everyday, routine that makes life go smoothly. Whenever the body perceives a threat, whether it's physical, emotional, or environmental, it activates our stress response system, which we often call fight or flight. And this involves your nervous system, your endocrine system, and the immune system. It causes the body to release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and they help our body prepare to fight the stress. Only, in my personal experience, it doesn't work out so well, at least not when it's a chronic response. In short bursts, though, it increases alertness, focus. We're looking for danger. Why are we feeling this way? It gives us energy that we didn't know we had. You see these people picking up a car to get somebody off of somebody underneath the car. You don't normally have that kind of physical strength. The hormones provide that. But the problem today is not short-term stress, it's chronic, ongoing stress. And when the stress response stays activated too long, body begins to shift to a different state, which is a constant adaptation.
Yep.
So would you
If you don't mind me interjecting here, when we say it's the nervous system, the endocrine system, the immune system, your total body actually responds to stress, and you may not realize it. And yes, there's a good part of the fight or flight, and I talk about this a lot on my show. I'm glad Peggy's mentioning it here today because that fight or flight also can interfere with hormone response. It releases cortisol in bursts and it releases adrenaline and other hormones as well. So the problem, though, there's a negative side to that. Like cortisol, too much cortisol, it lingers around for quite some time after you need it, and it can make you gain weight. And adrenaline, you can get adrenaline fatigue, and those are on your adrenal glands are on your kidneys, and then it can also affect your kidney function. There's so much it can do that's negative. So what she's trying to do here, I see what you're doing. You're trying to take out all those things that happen and this what you notice and things. So, and then maybe we can help them figure out what they can do to negate that chronic stress that we don't want people to have. So, if you don't mind, do you mind if I go through the symptoms of chronic stress?
No, I would love to hear that.
Great. There's 10 basic symptoms everyone needs to remember. Number 1, persistent fatigue, feeling tired even after you rest. You may still feel tired. It may indicate that the body is using extra energy, those bursts of energy, or maybe you had an energy drink and you just tired you out so much after it. When it goes up, your energy, it will come down as fast. Keep that in mind. So number
It's
2,
gonna
sleep
come down
disturbances.
faster, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Sleep disturbances, trouble falling asleep and staying asleep, or waking on refreshed, can signal nervous system imbalance. Brain fog. How many of us don't get brain fog? How about you, Peggy? You get brain fog sometimes? I know I do. Um,
I look for the periods where the sun is shining and, mostly it's pretty foggy.
that's great. Trouble concentrating, forgetfulness, mental sluggishness, and we can also have, it may reflect stress related changes in the brain function. So I'm sure all of us get that sometimes, some of us more than others. Increased irritability or anxiety. Sometimes, maybe somebody's irritable or are high anxiety people. Maybe they're having a lot of emotions. Maybe they need to talk. Don't judge. Okay. Emotional changes can occur when the nervous system remains heightened in a state of alert. Number 5, frequent headaches. Recurring headaches. A lot of people have those associated with muscle tension, dehydration, stress related physiological changes, digestive issues, the bloating, the discomfort, irregular digestion. They may say, hey, it's a change of life, or you had too much salt this week. Oh, come on. It could be this. It could be just chronic stress. Kids, work, commutes. I mean, in today's day and age, everything around you can give it to you. Irregular digestion, though, can occur, and stress affects the gut-brain connection. Muscle tension and tightness, you know, that always hits me hard. Chronic stress can lead to ongoing muscle contractions, especially my neck and shoulders. So just stretching and breathing. We're going to get into that later on in the show. She's going to let me do a segment later for you guys. So frequent illness, immune systems, they're affected with prolonged stress. It can lower your immunity. Changes in appetite. Stress may lead to increased cravings, reduce appetite or irregular eating patterns. That was number 9. And number 10, reduced energy and motivation. A noticeable decline in motivation or enthusiasm may actually be a symptom of prolonged physical and mental strain. That's kind of like the category I fall in a lot. And then I have to realize it's my motivation, stress, and then I do some of those key things later on you're going to hear about. Holistic perspective, the body is designed to respond to short-term stress. Long-term stress can affect multiple systems within the body. So all at once, including nervous system, immune system, hormonal system, metabolic function. These symptoms do not necessarily indicate disease, but they may signal that body needs the rest. Just a thought, there's so many different things that can affect it. It's a whole list of different things. One, regulate. There's things that you can do to help that. I don't want to get into that in this section. I want to
Well, I'd
say,
like to just point out, Gloria, when we talk about stress and everything, obviously you guys can hear my voice is a little stressed today, but I'm not sick. Um, And,
mhm,
first I thought, like everybody else, "Oh, I don't have time to be sick." And then I realized last week I was in a different part of the country, different atmosphere, different type of air and climate. And
mhm.
I had a great time with the people I was visiting. So you would think it was a relaxing vacation. I get back to the regular rat race, and I realize changing the environment can be a stress. And, it's a stress I wanted to have. Um, but because I have a history of some autoimmune things, I don't have any illness or medical symptoms except that my voice is a little raspy today. And so a lot of times we just assume stress is, we're not getting along with our partner, the kids are going crazy, animal just chewed your favorite curtain, everything. And sometimes it's as simple as, I had a little bit of stress with the airlines that are going, crossing the country. Um, and you don't realize how that can affect your body and your mind. But yeah, I got a little surprise of, what I'm teaching and practicing is like, oh, it happens to me too. That was amazing also. We think sometimes when we're professionals, it only happens to our clients, but
Mm.
obviously we're human too.
So the stress can basically target other things, not just what I had mentioned. In her case, it's targeted her voice. Maybe because you were traveling and you had to speak louder to people and everything you were doing, it just strained her vocal cords. And here she is today. I think that's happened to all of us
I'm
at some
just
point.
around a lot of people and I'm usually around animals. So, I don't have to talk as much when I'm with the animals. But yes, um, so I'm looking forward to how we're going to learn about what we can do about this. Some of it's as simple as increasing our hydration. Sometimes if you're on, shift work, you don't get to choose your hours to sleep as well. But we're going to start that in the next section. We'll be right back after a brief break. Thank you.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to easysense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's easysense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals.
Welcome back to the Holistic Nurse with Peggy Smith and Dr. Gloria Warren. We're discussing how stress, nutrition, and environmental factors influence our body and why it's so important. Um, Educational programs are out there, that's a self-sustainability. That is Gloria's specialty. Lifestyle awareness. I'm real good about recognizing my lifestyle is not the healthiest sometimes, but Gloria's going to show us how to take that one step further. And environmental health helps people understand how your daily habits really do affect your long-term well-being. These programs can educate on practical tools. We're going to share some of those. Um, and, we hope that this will be very helpful because I don't think I know anybody that isn't affected in some way with stress. Um, so, Gloria, should we talk about the chronic stress and what it does to the body?
Certainly. So when stress becomes chronic, see, acute means something that happens right away, and it usually goes away more rapidly or quickly than chronic. Chronic means it keeps going on and on and on across a long period of time, and it begins to affect multiple systems at once. So, the nervous system, for instance, the body, may remain in a heightened state of alert. Very common with PTSD state patients, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, and I think there needs to be more programs to support our veterans, and
Mhm.
we're creating some new PTSD clients. Unfortunately, with our world activities these days, So it's
Mhm.
really important that everybody knows how to identify it, even among their family members, and how they can help or
And it
direct
can
them to
happen
the
to
people who can help.
anybody. I know I had some PTSD because of the way I was raised. All my siblings did. I know my other family members did, and even friends that I know. So whether they're a serviceman or not, PTSD is a potential possibility for all of this. Um, and it can lead to difficulty relaxing, anxiety, irritability, sleep disruption. That's not just PTSD. That's any of these chronic stress scenarios. Okay, PTSD was just one of the examples we gave you. So, difficulty relaxing. You know, how many people think, oh, I have to have a drink, or I have to watch a little TV before bed, or I need to just relax, or anxiety. A lot of people are high anxiety today, and that's all over the globe, you know, with the politics that are happening, which we're non-political here, but I'm sure everybody understands what we're talking about. And with that comes irritability, sleep disruption. You know, keep waking up because your brain just doesn't want to unwind. So there are some tricks for that too. Like, don't shut off the computer a couple hours before bed, and don't watch anything. Don't be on your phone either. There's blue light. Anywhere there's blue light, don't even be near it 2 hours before you sleep. It does something with your brain and keeps it going. So,
And many people take sleep aids, chemical or whatever, to help them sleep at night. But they find in the morning when they wake up, you might have had your eyes closed and, thought you were sleeping, but you don't wake up rested. And, so hopefully we can share ways to really get quality sleep. Uh, and well, I guess about a month and a half ago, we had Dr. Andrea Niestas out in California, psychologist, talking about 5-minute hacks to manage your stress. And she'll be coming back April 4th, sharing
yay.
more of her gems. So we can look forward to that because, you know, even if we're not saying it out loud, most of us kind of like brush people like you and me off and say, oh, yeah, I don't have time for stress. I got to got to feed my family, got to do that. They don't recognize that is stress. And, you know, the way we're reacting to it is the problem, not the fact that we have stress. PTSD, it comes from our backgrounds. I have a dog who suffers from PTSD, and I haven't cured him. Medications and other things I do don't fix the problem. He's probably always going to have that, like we're always going to have that. But I've learned to anticipate what triggers him. So I'm kind of like a placebo or a substitute brain for the level that he can't react to. We avoid trouble that way. But if you know certain things, like fireworks, for instance, they bother the animals, they also bother people, especially the veterans coming back. And if you know what your triggers are, you can create a lifestyle that avoids some of those triggers when possible.
So on hormonal
So,
systems, like cortisol, back to that release with the fight or flight scenario, levels can become dysregulated, your cortisol levels, they mean. And over time, it affects energy levels. It's hard to turn off cortisol in your bloodstream. You can't. You need to. It needs to get out of your system. So metabolism is also affected because whenever you're dealing with hormones, your metabolism is directly affected. Your immune balance is affected, and blood sugar regulation. This is important because of diabetes. The key to all these with cortisol is cortisol inflames the body. So low level circulation to all of your pancreas for blood sugar and insulin production. Your pancreas areas can become swollen and they cannot regulate blood sugar correctly. So it's just a little example on how cortisol levels can actually affect the human body.
well,
Immune
I know
system.
some of our hormones, have a healthy purpose, reason why they're with us in our bodies. Is there anything healthy about cortisol, or is it just a reaction to our stress?
The cortisol is very healthy because it actually is a reaction to the fight or flight. So we gain energy, we optimize our thought processes, and we can think faster, in other words. And muscles, can become inflamed. So you says if you need to run far along to save lives or something, those muscles actually have more bloodstream going to them because the cortisol will inflame it. And that's the fluid from your blood will go to those muscles and make it more readily available for energy use. So there are positive things about cortisol.
I would
I mean,
imagine people in certain occupations or first responders, things like that. Um, is there something that they can do to increase their awareness? You know, when like almost ask for cortisol on demand without any kind of negative behaviors triggering it. Do you understand my question? I'm not sure I do.
right. Well, they're going to need to go into fight or flight at some points in their lives if they have that type of a, just like a police officer even. That's what makes them react more quickly. How can they get rid of it and eliminate it? The best way, sweat. I'm actually, this is funny, I didn't tell you this, Peggy. I'm on this program. I'm on a 30-day challenge. It started like 3 days ago. I'm on the Tibetan monks um, activity and diet. So it's been amazing. I think I've been releasing so many toxins with sweat already, and not just sweat, it's the exercises and the way they eat. They only eat one meal a day, but it's how they do it and the tea they drink and all those type of things. It's really I feel so much better. My immune system's starting to come back up. I love it. It's
We'll
great.
have to do a show on that in the future. That sounds
Yes,
interesting.
that's why I'm doing it, so I can show before, after, and um, it's just amazing because their lifespan is a lot longer than ours is here in America. So it'll be fun.
Looking
So we go
forward
in,
to it.
yeah,
Go ahead.
we go into the immune system about chronic stress and how it influences immune signaling. So when you're in fight or flight too long, chronically, in other words, for long periods of time, your body swells. You have swelling and inflammation, two different things. I talked about that before. But anyways, it does things to everything in your body, all of your internal organs, the tissue, everything. You know, it leads to increased inflammation overall in every area of your body, causes more, that's why it causes brain fog and many other problems that happen. It reduces the ability to recover. And how is that? Why is that? It's because the circulation's not going where it needs to. There's too much inflammation long term. You need to break that cycle. You need to detox, break the cycle, get it out of your system. And detoxing is not these crazy diets that people think, oh, I'm going to drink a cup of olive oil. Well, guess what? You just stressed your liver. You're back in fight or flight. You may feel good without all that bacteria in your colon for a while, but that lowers your immunity even further. So you got to consider many different factors. That's why you need to contact Peggy, talk to her. She'll give you some suggestions. So it'll reduce your ability. Cortisol will also, and chronic stress will also reduce your ability to recover because that swelling is there. The good blood can't get there. And then you are more susceptible to various illnesses too. Why is that? Well, because your lymph nodes that help protect you against illnesses are being squashed by the immune response of inflammation. They're inflamed around it. And even the lymph nodes will flare up, and then they can't process the pathogens in your blood as quickly. They can't kill them off. They can't harbor them and say, hey, you can't go anywhere. We're going to keep you here. We're going to put you in jail. So, yeah, different ways. All that inflammation, it leads to many different things from that fight or flight and cortisol and chronic stress.
You know, when you were talking, it reminded me of how sometimes people say, well, it's only me, I can't make a difference. But
Mm,
if you can make a difference in your own personal internal environment, the results do affect all areas of your life. And then it's kind of contagious, like a smile is contagious.
yeah.
People see that you have more energy, you seem happier. They either get suspicious, like, well, right, do you have to be happy? Look at your terrible life, and just say, I'm thankful. Gratitude is a big part, I think, of, cleaning out the internal systems.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. The digestive system also can shift away from digestion. So sometimes when people are chronically stressed, they have stomach problems. Too much acid, not enough acid. Do I take vinegar or do I take something with baking soda in it? There's so many different questions, but unfortunately, if it's chronic, it can actually lead to bloating and irregular digestion and discomfort after eating. Like I said, not knowing which you have, too much acid, not enough acid, and then like we were talking earlier, even the brain fog that you mentioned in the beginning of the show, brain fog, brain function can affect cognitive function. This may show up as brain fog, reduced focus, memory changes. It's hard to be at work and need to remember everything, especially when you're talking with your superior, your boss, or a colleague even. If you have brain fog and you can't focus as well, maybe they say something, you're like, oh, like, wait, what did they say? I don't remember. Could be swelling, could be inflammation, could be all of this from too much stress. I do lists. I list things continually, just as triggers to my brain if I'm under a lot of stress. It really helps. I'm really glad I started that.
Sometimes the simplest ideas are the answer. Keep it simple. There's a reason why somebody thought of that. We'll be right back after the next break. Thank you very much.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Hi, welcome back to today's Holistic Nurse with Peggy Smith and Dr. Gloria Warner. We're discussing the hidden biological effects caused by chronic stress. And, there are subtle warnings of chronic stress. Gloria, I think you've covered some of that. Um,
Yeah.
But I think people are always looking externally for the answers, and so many of the answers we need. My mother used to have a phrase: if you have to ask the question, you already know the answer inside. Or, if you don't know the answer and you ask yourself, well, what is it you need right now? Your body usually tells you. Would you like to take that a little bit
Sure.
further?
There are some tricks about how to relieve chronic stress, but I'm going to hold off on that just a little bit longer. But I am going to talk about some of the things that will make a difference with chronic stress. I'll do that right now for you. Stress management. Maybe you just need a timeout. Maybe tell people, excuse me, I'll be right back, and go away for 5 minutes. Go in the bathroom and just be by yourself or something, sit there at the sink. Who knows? Stand up and do some deep breathing and go back. That's called stress management. There's many things you can do. You can listen to some tones in your ear. You can do deep breathing at your desk, counting in and out just with your eyes closed. You want to put your back to people? That'd be a great thing so that they're not getting into your system. So stress management. The other is nutrition. You need to consider what you eat, when you eat it. You don't want to eat right before bed, but you have to be careful what you eat nowadays. There's a lot of junk in our food. And I said that politely. So I push, I think you do the same, Peggy. I push simples, good whole foods. And if something has more than 3 or 4 ingredients on it, I don't buy it. It's not in my home then. And I make sure I have snacks there for me. I do these buffalo things and with only 3 ingredients, it's like buffalo, cranberries, and salt. That's it. So always find everything with only simple ingredients. Plus, certified organic by the FDA. The certification seal means a lot. And then if you need, buy food from other countries that don't allow different preservatives and food colorings and all these things. That can add to your stress because it creates inflammation in your body. And if you become more inflamed, you get more brain fog, and it's going to add to your stress because you're going to be just running in circles, basically. It'll aggravate you. Sleep. Get the appropriate sleep. You need sleep, good, healthy sleep. I don't think you need 8 hours. Some people do, some don't. Some only need 7. Go with what you know works for you, but you need continued sleep, unbroken up. If you have trouble, have to get up for the bathroom in the middle of the night, don't drink anything I say 2.5 hours before bed. That's where my thinking always lies with that. And then environmental exposures. This goes into my self-sustainability. The exposures of chemicals in the house, outside the home, even in the air, there's even plastics now. So you need to detox. And believe it or not, the kidneys and the colon cannot filter those things out. Not all of them. They can filter out maybe simple chemicals, but when it comes to plastics, you need to sweat. You need to get that out of there. And if you do, if you can get more of it out, you'll notice the brain fog will get better by itself outside of that. So these 4 things, they play a critical role on how the body functions. Educational programs are there. They are there for you to look into. If you need help finding them, ask Nurse Peggy. She has suggestions on that. I have suggestions on that. You can contact either of us. But let's go back one more time to the subtle warnings of chronic stress. So one of the challenges of chronic stress is that often develops slowly without you even knowing. It's like putting that frog in warm water and slowly increasing it. So you may not realize it. Many people can adapt to it without realizing how bad it's getting. Or early warning signs, persistent fatigue. This is like a little review before we go into what you can do. Early warning signs: persistent fatigue, sleep disturbances, increased irritability, digestive issues, headaches, muscle tension, and brain fog, of course. They're often normalized when people say, I'm just busy. No. I just need more coffee. No. I'll rest later. You got to think about, what did coffee actually do? I mean, it can be an antioxidant. Most coffees out there, commercialized ones, are not anymore. They're the garbage coffee, and they're were roasted, and therefore they lose their antioxidants. The I'll rest later one never comes. So the body keeps responding in ways that stress would make it respond, but you got to think outside the box. It's not all stress. It can also
I guess
contribute.
from nature, the birds are out real early in the morning, and the early bird gets the worm. And I'm just playing in my head what I've been listening to in the last 10 minutes. You mentioned buffalo. You're talking about like buffalo meat?
Yes.
All right.
I'm
Okay.
carnivorous. I need
No, I'm
heme
just
iron
thinking you're also in a
in
different
my
part of the
blood.
country. I don't think I've ever seen buffalo meat in my traditional grocery stores, but I wasn't ever
Order
looking for
them
buffalo.
online. I order them
I
online. Easy peasy.
I
Get it all done.
Okay, I
So,
thought maybe it was because of where you live in your part of the country.
oh,
Uh,
I wish. Well, when I was
because
in Colorado, maybe, but no, I just ordered them online. I was turned on to it when I was in Colorado because we're talking more or less an organic grass-fed animal that gets its freedom and everything else and gets to live as a buffalo until they go for harvesting. But yeah, I love buffalo sticks. They're like a beef jerky, but they're real soft. I love them. I mean, almost every day I have one, and that's my snack. It just carries me over. Protein, if I have protein, I don't eat nearly as much. My body is very healthy on protein. It's when I eat carbs that I end up getting sick all the time because it causes inflammation in me. Grains are not good for my body. So I avoid
and
it.
I think it's people don't give enough credit to the value of getting breakfast in the morning.
Yeah.
That's often the meal that gets skipped.
Right. Now on this Tibetan monk diet, I don't get breakfast. So it's interesting. It's they do a tea every morning. You know, everybody does things differently, but they do all their hard labor in the morning first, like the old time farmers used to do. So, but I'm starting to really feel it, and it's only been 3 days. I'm getting my energy back. Yay.
And
So yeah, this low grade inflammation that we talked about. You did your show on the silent fire. Remember that one? Just
yes.
recently. Was it? I think it was last week. Yeah.
Last week from Texas, yes.
And that was about inflammation and, creeping up on you and being chronic. And over time, it influences metabolic health and immunity and cardiovascular health. But anyways, why don't I go into the chronic stress,
Okay.
how to relieve chronic stress. So there's practical strategies on how to relieve chronic stress. So and strategies and real life examples. So chronic stress cannot always be eliminated, but it can be managed and balanced. So that's a good light at the end of the tunnel, right? Regulate the nervous system. Yes, you can do that. The goal, shift the body out of fight or flight into a balanced state. It's breathing. The deep breathing exercises, 5 slow, deep breaths. Inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 6 seconds. The amount of seconds don't matter. It's just always follow a pattern. It could be 5 and 6, 4 and 7, whatever you're comfortable with. We don't want to create more stress. We want to get rid of it. So sit quietly
So
for
many
2 to 5
people in
minutes.
today's society are caregivers of family members now. And
Mhm.
maybe that part of it you can't control, but why don't you explain, what you can do as a caregiver even to
Yeah,
be able to
all of
take
these
care of yourself?
things. All of these things can be done as a caregiver. I am a caregiver. So she's 91 years old now. Oh boy. But I can prioritize sleep, allow the body to repair and reset. I'm not saying like 10 at night to 6 in the morning. Those areas of time slots don't work for me, but I'm trying to do at different areas of time slots, getting the nighttime hours for my circadian rhythm in there somehow. So maybe it's 1 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the morning or something. As long as everybody knows that's my time slot to sleep, that's always a good thing. You got to prioritize sleep. Same time every night, 30 to 60, maybe even 2 hours, turn everything off. No more phone. Don't look at it. Blue light is bad for sleeping. Keep the bedroom dark and cool because when you're under the covers, it actually helps in a cool room and it helps you to go into a deeper sleep. So move the body gently. That's always a good thing. Release, build up tension and regulate stress hormones. Example, such as take 20 minutes in the morning for a walk, or even just 10. If you only have 10, take 10. All right, because we don't want to create more stress. We want to release stress. So just 10 minutes. Take the dog with, or just go out in the morning and walk down to the corner gas station and get your coffee. That's not expensive down there. Stretching really helps eliminate some of the inflammation in your body and basic swelling. It can really help relieve tension too. Practice light yoga. I love hatha yoga with deep breaths and movement, because when you bend forward, you exhale because you're putting pressure on your lungs. You lift your chest up to inhale. It's great. Movement helps complete the stress response, and it puts more of an end to it. I'm not saying take a 10-hour hike to create more stress, though. No more. You want to stay away from the fight or flight. Spend time in nature, reduce sensory overload, support the calmness, sitting outside for 10 minutes. I have frogs now. They just started up this season. I love it. I opened the door and I just sat on the step listening. Oh, it's great. Walk in a park or green space. Step outside just for fresh air breaks. That's why I have chickens. It makes me go outside every now and then. Nature exposure has been shown to lower stress. It's fantastic, nature in all. I just love nature. Give me a sleeping bag and I'll be out there all night. Except I need a tent because of the coyotes. Of course, I found a bear print in my yard now. That's a little scary, isn't it? Support the body with good nutrition. We mentioned nutrition. So whole foods, proteins, healthy fats. You need fats. Don't avoid fats. Your brain is made up of fat. You want to have more brain fog, don't eat any fat because you'll end up with more brain fog. Your brain needs fats. Stay hydrated throughout the day. And that's one of Peggy's that she keeps telling me, don't forget to drink your water, and reduce extra sugar and ultra processed foods. The extra sugar ones, you really don't need those real sweet snacks. Maybe every now and then after dinner, you just got a little bit of a sweet tooth. But a couple bites later, you may not need any more. So number 6, reduce stimulation and screen time. Decrease
Okay, we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back to finish that. Thank you.
Okay.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Hi, welcome back to our final segment with Dr. Gloria Warren. We're discussing controlling our stress, our chronic stress, and so that we don't have as many physiological responses that shorten our lives and make us uncomfortable. Gloria, would you like to pick up where you left off?
Oh, right. Absolutely. There are different things that we can do to help relieve our stress, or chronic stress especially, and that's what we were talking about. So we were just finishing up number 6, reduce stimulation and screen time. This, I already went into it. Phones, computers, you need quiet time. So number 7, break tasks into smaller steps. And this is too, if you do a list, it's kind of easier to break up those tasks. I do network maps actually too for those type of things. But the goal is to reduce overwhelming and reduce the mental pressure. So examples are focus on one task at a time. Just start in the beginning and just knock it out. That's what a good project manager does. And he gets the next one, he knocks it out. After the planning phase, that's what he does. They just move from one to the next. And before you know it, most of them are behind you. So write a
I
short
find,
to-do list.
back in the past, these to-do lists seem really overwhelming and they almost
Right.
paralyze you. But as I incorporated more healthier habits in my diet and activity and, following my own advice, I actually look forward to looking at my list and, get excited that it's gonna be finished soon. It won't be there anymore. Um,
Yeah.
so, that's a natural consequence of, you know, trying to incorporate a healthier life in your routine.
Right. And the key is to write a short to-do list and to get used to these to-do lists so you don't create problems more so in your mind. So 3 to 5 items each time. That's all you need. And take short breaks between them. Number 8, connect with others. Support emotional well-being and reduce isolation. I talk to Peggy quite often on the phone as well as a couple other friends, and it really helps with their psyche and my own as well. So that's one of the things you can do. Share how you're feeling with people, maybe with your close friends or maybe with stranger on the bus. Who knows? Spend time with supportive people though. Hopefully you have supportive family, if not a supportive friend. You can adopt a friend as a family member. By the way, I've done this many times. But the connection can help regulate your central nervous system. Number 9, create daily pause moments. The goal, give the body time to reset throughout the day. And excuse me, I need to take a break. I'll be right back. Or I need to um, go talk to somebody. You're going to talk to God. Talk to whoever you want, right? Sit quietly for 2 minutes between activities. Practice mindfulness and gentle breathing. Breathing techniques are phenomenal. I've gone into it a couple times, breathing in and out, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Just do some. At least 3 deep breaths, counting in and counting out slowly. Empty your lungs completely. So take a moment of stillness before meals. Short pause. It prevents stress from building up. And if you're less stressed, your body will have a better chance to digest your food. Number 10, build awareness of stress patterns. Recognize and respond to stress earlier. It helps with. That's, watch yourself and notice when your body feels more tense. Maybe mark it down and identify those triggers: workload, lack of sleep, overstimulation. Ask, what does my body need right now? Awareness is the first step towards change, and you need to actually get that information in there. So the holistic perspective is chronic stress is not just mental. It's a whole body experience. The goal is not to remove all stress, but to support recovery, reduce overload of stress, and restore balance. Very important. You need to restore balance of yourself within your environment.
So I
You
guess
know,
another way of putting that, Gloria, would be prioritize yourself. Be kind
yes,
to yourself.
give yourself grace. Give yourself that time that you need. Very important.
So I've noticed when I have a sudden mood change, like maybe I start my day, I'm feeling great, and then nothing happened, but all of a sudden I'm
Mhm.
really pissed off at the world. And I can almost always trace it back to something I ate that wasn't healthy that
Oh,
now is in
wow.
my body system, changing my mood. And, so when you learn to be aware of those things, you find that you don't even have a taste for those negative foods that create those kind of moments.
I love that you do that. I didn't normally notice a change in things I eat, but I think I'm going to be more aware of it after this show. I think maybe I need to figure out my stress triggers more with what I eat. I tend to avoid foods that aren't healthy for me already, but I know I still will eat something because, hey, it reminds me when I was a kid. Give me those Cocoa Pebbles or something, Pass the milk,
Yeah, yeah,
throw
my
them in the
famous
Cocoa Pebbles.
phrase for years was, "I grew up so I didn't have to eat vegetables." And then I
Oh,
was trying to create ways that my kids wouldn't know I was stuffing them with vegetables.
yeah, yeah.
And
I
so,
always wanted more vegetables. I never didn't get many when I was a kid. Maybe a canned vegetable here and there. Open the can, give me a fork, and eat.
well, Popeye used to do that. A lot of kids
Mm,
started eating spinach after watching Popeye. This has been a really great show, Gloria. I'm so happy to have you. I think we covered a lot of information. Um, and your show, The Medical Intuitive, tell everybody when your show is so they can tune in.
Medical Intuitive Insights with Dr. Gloria Warren, and my show is at 2 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesdays. Wednesdays. So
So,
I'm there, and feel free to join me. You may even see
definitely.
Peggy there.
All right. Well, everybody have a great, healthy week. Drink lots of water. Pay attention to you for a change, because nobody else cares about you the way you're going to care about you. And we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us today.
Bye.
This has been The Holistic Nurse with host Peggy Smith. Tune in each week where you're encouraged to send in questions and receive private responses and suggestions if appropriate. Here's Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern.